sweet little face. So I think I'm going to ask her, how does she see herself?
Well, as a woman, I really enjoy that fact about myself because I'm a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister. Yes, I'm an actor, and yes, I have survived cancer so far. It has crossed all good energy to it, and yeah, and I really do hope that I can add things to this label and do lots more in the years that I have ahead. Because if I've survived it, then there has to be a purpose to it.
But Sonali, that's what I was coming to, because since you came out with the fact that you have cancer, and it's not something a lot of people still talk about, and it's kind of a very strange thing. People first hide the diagnosis, and I don't know why they do it. Um, what made you decide that you wanted to be so open about it?
Well, I think we have to adapt. We are in a day and age where information is available at your fingertips, and there's really not much that you can, I wouldn't know if you would call it hide, but I just makes it sound very negative. And I really didn't want any negativity around me. I didn't want any gossip around it, and I didn't want speculation about it. Also, because my son was 12 at that point of time, and kids today would be getting the messages and will be on internet, and didn't want him to read something negative and bad. I mean, what was happening was strange and scary enough, and I didn't want to add to that. I didn't want my mom-in-law, my mother, my father to get some strange WhatsApp messages and kind of get frightened about it. So the idea was to put out what is happening by yourself so that there's no speculation around it. I thought I would just do that one post and move on, get on with, you know, uh, get on with the treatment. But the response I got was kind of an eye opener, and I realized that this so many people were going through it, and it was, I mean, all strata of society, everybody was going. There were so many people who were going through it, and they were hiding it. They were not talking about it, and they were just opening out on my timeline and sending me messages. And I said, just for this, I need to put out a picture. I didn't want it to be something where obviously the treatment is hard and there are very hard days and there are very, very, very hard days. But I just wanted to be hopeful all the time, and I wanted to use everything that I put out to be hopeful because I never wanted to let go of that hope. And so, though I never lied about what I was going through, but I really didn't want those really sad pictures with tubes sticking into you and stuff like
Well,
that. Like,
you have a peculiar kind of honesty. It's not brutal, but it's quite gentle. As we were sitting down again and chatting, you said that I needed to wear a yellow shirt today because I'm not having a good day. And as we enter day 2342 of the lockdown, I mean, I've literally lost count, right?
yeah.
What do you do when you have these days? I mean, where we are all waking up sort of in sort of dissonance almost.
Well, I would say that I kind of have a bit of advantage over it because I was going through a sort of a quarantine before, and it's just got extended. So yes, in that sense, while I was out of the country, it was a kind of a quarantine. When I came back, because the immunity was so low, so you were anyway meeting less people and keeping the social distancing and stuff like that. So just when I had actually started stepping out and doing a couple of things, um, this has happened, and we have this pandemic running rampant across the world, and we are back at home. So in that sense, certain bit of advantage in the sense of we're used to it, but it's different from before because I at least had a couple of people coming and going and visiting. I had friends around with me, and now it's just us in the family. I think it has its certain good points to it also, and there are certain bits there which are uh, like you said, today was one of those days when you get up and you're not feeling. So then you try various things to pick
So you
yourself.
wear a yellow shirt. You do,
Or
and
whatever color gives you the sunshine, basically.
yeah, you switch on the sunshine, right? You wear a yellow shirt. You have a conversation with us.
Put on
Um,
some stuff.
have you worn some makeup?
I actually did the kajal and I did my eyes, and see, it might sound flaky, but I always feel that these are the little things and the small things that really pick you up. And the bigger the problem and the bigger the issue, I think the more smaller you go, you kind of deal with it better. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Well, our conversation today is about finding joy, and that's what we're here to do. When I look at your Instagram feed, and that's what it's become, right? All our conversations right now are looking at each other's feeds and what they're putting out. You seem to find a lot of joy in your life. What name three things that are an instant pickup? Coffee? Is coffee one of them? Your watered down coffee. Do you want to tell everybody how you drink your coffee?
Yeah, well, shouldn't be having too much coffee. So, and I love my coffee. So, I add a lot of hot water to it. So, it's my 2 cups, which kind of get extended through the day into 4 or 5 cups because it's the 2 cups which get watered down to that. And slowly over a period of time, I enjoy the taste. I get my feeling of coffee, and yet I keep it limited. So, yeah. And
But
it's
what
fun.
are the other things you do then to keep yourself happy? Your girlfriends have been a really important part of your life because you talked about them. They flew down to see you. In this self isolation, how do you stay in touch with people you love?
It's great. For the first time, I'm technologically challenged, but thank God for technology. I mean, the same situation, if we didn't have the tech we have now, what would we be doing? I mean, today, I was low. I was excited, eventually picked myself up, got myself ready. I said, I'm going to have a conversation with Nonita. I'm going to see her after so long. I mean, it's so great. I mean, definitely it's not the touch, but still it's human contact. And I was really, this has been my highlight today and is going to pick me up today and going to get me through. It got me through the low of the morning, and I'm already feeling so much better, having a conversation. And same thing with friends. There are so many of these various apps, and you get together and we have our coffee together. And sometimes we have our meals together, and it's like, oh, lunch together and a dinner together and stuff like that. We do that with the family. I'm doing that with my friends. Yes.
And you just called your mother just before we went online and you said, Mama, watch me. I'm going live. You told her in Marathi. And I thought that was really sweet. You're like, I. And I think she
Yeah,
slapped the phone down on you so fast so that she could quickly switch on the TV. I'm sure
absolutely.
it was on the right channel, but you know what? That was really sweet. How
I, I,
much do you,
I hope she gets that. Otherwise, I'm going to send her the link. But that's one thing that I'm really missing. I'm missing my parents terribly, terribly. I really miss them. I mean, because they are not as tech savvy, so it's not so easy for them. It's a process, and so I really miss them. Yeah, at this point of time, I'm missing them a lot.
So, what do you do then when you miss them? What are the other things that you do that give you joy? Because you've really switched on the sunshine. You are. I know that you sometimes, and I think maybe acknowledging the fact that you're unhappy or you're depressed or you're struggling, it helps other people. So, what are the other things you have, your other bag of tricks?
Well, binge watching helps, and keeping
What are
away
you watching right now?
Seinfeld.
Sorry?
I'm watching Seinfeld. I'm
Oh,
watching
lovely. I
episodes.
love Seinfeld.
Laugh, joy, great writing, great sense of humor, normal everyday life. I'm missing the everyday life I'm getting. And yes, I'm really enjoying watching that. Reading, and I went into my fantasy fiction world. It always saves me. And whenever I go through this stressful times, I go into fantasy fiction, go into a different world. In fact, this time on my book club, oh God, I'm sorry. That's my Isis, my another source of joy, who is sneaked in and is barking away. But yes,
The
uh,
joys of working from home means you have your pet somewhere, you have some other distraction. It's okay. That was really nice.
he's a teenager. Getting this kind of time from him is amazing. Having Goli at home is another amazing thing because um, even if you go on vacations, you do those week 10 days. There are times when I go with Ranveer, but kind of Goldie joins us later. But this is kind of a huge chunk of time, and you are at home. And I think that it was just great to kind of catch up. It's been this year, it will be 18 years of us being married. Not bad. I think it's time to kind of regroup and gather up and,
So
get into
Sonali's rules of
each other.
survival include spending time with your husband of 18 years, relearning how to love him or staying in love with him. If you have any questions, log on to our website, tweet at us. This is being simulcast on television and all our digital channels. I'm back with Sonali again, asking her. You talked about books and fantasy fiction, and I was actually following that. Is it a reflection of the crazy times we live in? Do you think that your next book would be fantasy fiction and would take off from this day and time when we all found ourselves sitting indoors hiding from a virus?
Well, this month's book is Exhalation by Ted Chiang, and amazingly, that's Ice behind
That's
me.
Icy. Hi, Icy.
Hi, Icy. Say hi. But the book was suggested by my brother, and it's science fiction, which is so today's time because suddenly, you know, the problems of today is different. The world we are living in is different. And yet, I didn't want something dark. And my brother told me, suggested this book because this is a series of short stories which are science fiction. By the way, I started my book club with a science fiction book, Wool, and it's one of my favorite genres. And this is a very uplifting book. The stories are very uplifting and very human and uplifting. And I thought it was ideal for today's time. We are living in a kind of science fiction. I mean, the books that we read, this was something that could happen in future, and we are living in that future. And but that future calls for some uplifting reading, and I really wanted something human and uplifting while being science fiction. And this was the book that was suggested, and I'm really looking forward to reading it.
Well, you haven't finished it, you've just started it?
I haven't started it, I'm starting it today. I
Oh.
was in my fantasy fiction world, and I just wanted to finish a bit of that.
You do some really fun things on Instagram as well. For someone who pretends to not be technologically advanced, how are you so good at all those videos? The last bunch I saw, you did immunity boosters, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Actually, it's just, I was feeling very shy about talking about it because, I mean, there's none. What's the proof and where is the science behind it? And I don't know all of that. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. But I
You're
don't know.
just a person who's survived and been through it. Maybe that makes you the most qualified expert.
I don't know if this was the reason, but this is something that I've done. And I just thought that I was feeling a bit shy about it, but I felt I needed to share it because this is something that I've done for the last 2 years. And I did go through it's when you go through cancer treatment and when your immunity is literally zero, especially when you go through your chemo and there is no immunity and your body is defenseless in that sense. And at that point, to never get an infection and to survive without having got an infection or needing to take antibiotics, I thought was a major achievement. And this is what I was doing through it. And I thought that kind of built my immunity and helped me survive and hence recover faster.
What were the key five ingredients, if you could just quickly tell us?
The greens, so you put the greens, you put the spinach or whatever. You put the greens in, you put the berries in, which are antioxidants, and you put some fruit in and vegetables. So it can be a carrot or a doody. So you do a bit of fruit, veggie, green. I do a mix of everything. I don't do a fruit separately and a veggie separately. It's just too complicated. So I just put everything in together and I add ginger. I add turmeric. I add a bit of amla. I add a bit of cinnamon and a little bit of dates to kind of, just get the taste.
Make it a little more palatable. So, what about exercise? For a long time I saw that your greatest source of joy was taking Icy for a walk, but now you can't go out. So, what are you doing?
I have to share this with you. So when I came back last year, the first thing that I did was I taught Icy to walk on the treadmill.
What?
Yes, can you believe it?
So Icy racks up the miles and you sit next to it and go, well, I just finished 10 kilometers.
I feel like I'm taking her for her walk. It's just that bond. And so the idea behind it is that, you can find a way to anything. I didn't want her to miss her long walks, especially on the beach. But when she would come back and then she wouldn't be able to come close to me because my immunity was really low. So the idea was to give her the exercise and keep her next to me. And it was a bit selfish, but she's go back onto the beach now. Again, in quarantine now, no it's not possible, but she was getting back to it. So that's how it started. So there are different situations, and we just need to adapt to it. For me, when I came back, body was in. I think I was like a 90-year-old. I didn't want to come out on a wheelchair, so I walked out. But I was literally, Goldie was holding me, or like I literally was. It was very difficult to walk. So from there to being able to do various things, exercise, physiotherapy has been a huge thing in my life in that sense. You just have to be consistent and you have to just keep doing it. So in this lockdown, what I did was that there's something that I've always been wanting to try out, and I always said one day, one day. So I'm using this time to teach myself yoga, and I have started the practice of Ashtanga yoga, and I'm really enjoying it. I started with a 15-20 minute practice, and I think I've gone to an hour-long practice now.
I just want to tell you, Ashtanga is amongst the toughest yogas to do. So why did you not set yourself an easy challenge? Because right now in this conversation, we were saying it's the little things that give you joy.
Yeah.
From walking out of, a plane and walking into your house, to being able to play with your dog, to be making your own smoothie, and then boom, you go into Ashtanga yoga. Why did you set such a hard challenge for yourself?
Well, most of the time when you would do something, the recovery would be hard, and then you couldn't go through the rest of the day. But now we are at home, and the idea was to be so exhausted mentally and physically and to try something new. So you had more than enough time to recover. So I thought this was the perfect time to try something which was a little more challenging. And, I think it's been a month of being in, I don't think I've stepped out of my house since the 8th of March. And it's been great because slowly I've built up the practice from 15-20 minutes to an hour. I'm far away from achieving where I would like to be, but every day you can see little more progress, and that's so beautiful. So yeah.
Has your perspective changed during this lockdown? Was it different from when you were sick to right now? Has your perspective changed? Because we keep talking about a new normal and how the world will never be the same. But are we ready to make those changes, you think?
We have no choice. We have to make the changes. And the first thing about recovery is to accept. If you're not going to accept what you're going through, how are you going to recover and move on from there? So we have to accept the fact that the world has changed, and it's not it is going to change, it has changed, and it is going to be a new normal. And my new normal, I thought, would be a little different. I have to adapt a little more to this new normal.
What did you think your new normal was going to be?
I think it's going to be even more social distancing. I think we are going to find new ways to meet up with people we love, and probably the way we work is going to change. Especially for me, I think it's going to be it's very interesting. I feel like going back to work. I didn't feel that earlier, but now being at home for so long, I want to go back to work.
Does that mean you want to act again? Because we were asked actually. Neeraj Sahu asked us, when will you come back to the silver screen? And I was hesitating to ask you that.
I know, but I do feel that maybe it doesn't have to be a movie. It can be, the technology has changed so much, and there's so many platforms and so many various ways that you can be creative. So I don't know what it will be, but yes, definitely something. I do want to get back to work, and that's a great feeling alive.
Abhishek is asking us that people are under severe stress. What are your tips for those struggling with stress?
Well, I really struggled with meditation, and but there is no shortcut to it, and that is something that helped me through my stress. There is no two ways about it. But what I found was that there are so many ways and so many people telling you what meditation is. I just asked myself, but are they really correct about it? How do they know what it is? So we just need to look into ourselves and find our way of meditating. And I feel everybody's way is going to be different. And the point is to not try to follow a path, but to just sit down with yourself and find your own path.
So somebody else asked, what is your mantra for happiness? Is it icy? I'm getting a lot of texts saying that everybody wants to see icy, by the way. Can we
Oh,
call Little Miss
walked off.
Icy? I love that she has her own hashtag. What? I mean, how amazing is that? Where is she?
She has just walked off.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
yeah.
You're a very stubborn dog, right?
She's a diva. Yeah.
Oh, he is a diva. How long ago did you get him?
It's her. It's a girl.
Oh, it's a her, Little Miss, of course. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
How long ago did you get her?
I see 6 years old now, and yeah. Oh my God.
Primary family member, baby of the house, boss of the house.
Yes.
Somebody else was asking, what are your tips for self-care?
Discipline. I think we really need discipline. So
Discipline as part of self-care.
yes, I think so, because when you have certain discipline, then you'll do certain things on a regular basis. Because anything that is healing and restores health has to be done constantly. There is no shortcut, and it has to be done continuously. So you need the discipline to keep at it.
Do you have any other magic potion?
Yucky. Sorry.
Sorry?
The green smoothie might not be the most tastiest thing, but just finish it. So rather than having 2, 3 of them, just finish it in that one go. Have it in the morning. Start your day with it, and you know what you need for the day has gone into your system, and then move on. So you just
have a green smoothie for your face, because a lot of what people are doing right now is masking, cooking, baking banana bread. Are you doing any of those?
So I'm not very fond of being in the kitchen. I'm not very fond of cooking.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that, because I can't cook at all.
Even I can't, but there is, again, like I said, tech is amazing. There's such amazing videos that you can watch and you can cook. So I did try my hand at a lasagna the other day, and it was not bad. It was quite lovely. But it's not something I want to do all the time. But it's a great time for housekeeping. So I'm cleaning out various things. Also, I thought that this was an amazing time to understand how little we actually need. That though I went through what I went through, this period when I'm at home, I mean, I must have taken out a shirt and gotten out of a t-shirt and track pants after so long. So how little we actually need has been underlined. And I think that is also declutter. It's one of the biggest
Have you thrown away a lot of clothes? I realized that I never need to shop again, because I opened my cupboards and I said, oh my God, I have something to wear for the next 60 days.
Yes.
And that was embarrassing.
Yes. But I also find that one of the biggest things that I find which de-stresses me is the joy of giving. And it can be in any way. It can be just picking up somebody who is feeling a bit low, just making somebody, having a great conversation, just getting somebody to smile. It could be, my assistant. It could be the help at home, just the joy of giving. And I don't mean giving doesn't have to be material all the time, but that joy really kind of uplifts me. And I find that human beings are meant for that. And we really, the more, we are social animals, and the more we give, the
Sonali,
more...
we are running out of time. Thank you for being with us. This was wonderful. I very quickly want to know, what is the first thing you'll do when the lockdown is over? I'm going to trim my bangs. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go and meet my parents.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for being with us. You helped us find joy this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much. Bye. Thank you for having me.